everyone, it's Annette Green back again in my weekly 2023 memory keeping planner from Elizabeth Craft Designs. I am using the vintage black. If you are new, welcome. I am documenting each week in my life of 2023, and here's a quick look at the pages so far. Just real quick, I have a playlist. Of course, you can go back and watch every week if you like. Each week I take you through my thought process as I document my weeks. So we are on week 17, which is the back of this page right here. We're going to be working, I already have pages just pre-cut, very neutral pages that I build on. And so let's get right into week 17. Of course, I always link to everything that I use below in case you have any questions. I will link to that playlist, of course. So here we go. I've got my page out of my planner. I've got my photos ready, and you see duplicates here. I always print the size I think I need, and then maybe a little smaller or a little bigger, depending, you know. So I've got just 3 photos I'm going to focus on here. We went to an azalea festival over the weekend, and before that we stopped and had lunch in a spot that we had never been to before, which is the Silos at this Indigo Kitchen, which was fantastic. I'm so into food, if you haven't noticed in prior weeks. So here's a picture of what I ate, and we'll talk about that. But I always grab a menu if I have them available. I always grab things just for logos or art inspiration, or even just to remember what I ate, the location, things like that. Sometimes there's a QR code. It's fun to include, as I've shown you in previous pages. So anyway, always gather things as you're out and about if they are accessible to you. It was an azalea festival. I thought that it would be nice to decorate the page with somewhat of an azalea flower. So I have pulled out an old die, Florals 3 from Elizabeth Craft Designs. And the reason I picked that one is because it's a 5-petaled flower. These are not really intended to be specific flowers in here. There's 2 more dies that I've used, and that's the medium size and the small one. But basically I looked up, I Googled azalea just to see a visual representation, and I see that it's a 5-petaled flower. So it's got these little notchy things at the ends of each petal. Perfect. I'm not going to spend a lot of time and effort shaping these because I want my page to be really, really flat. I'm just going to use markers and decorate them and keep them super flat for my page. The other thing I wanted to use is my little birds here, my layered birds with Elizabeth Craft Designs. These are designed by me. I want to use this guy here. As you can see, there's 2 and they face different directions. So I'm going to use this one, and we'll talk about some tips on putting him together. So knowing my photos, I know my colors, and I see my page here. So I have already made a few decisions. See in my photos there's a lot of blue sky and there's a lot of color. So we don't want to get crazy. We're just going to kind of stick with the blue and the green. I know there's going to be green leaves in my little azalea cluster I have planned in my mind. I have my week 17 already cut out here, and a small postage stamp from my postage stamp die set. The numbers are from number 37, stitched letters and numbers, as I've been using every week. And so I have that ready to put on my page, and then I have also created my little journaling card here, and this is stamped. I have used Bloom, and I've used this frame right here. And I don't know if I'll use any other things from this set just now, but that's what I used for my little frame, and I used good old VersaFine Claire in Paradise to stamp that out. And I stamped it onto pattern paper that has a little bit of a grid. This is a page from the brand new Reminiscence the Book number 6 from Esther. See the little grid there? I feel like that's perfect instead of just a plain piece of cardstock, and then I ink the edges there. That'll help me write nice and straight when I go to do my journaling. And I'm just going to mount it on this piece of Craft Core cardstock, which I've already sanded to give it a little bit of a distressed look. I also sanded the 17, so it has that same look and feel. So I'll cut out my photos here. I have a great video because everybody asks, how do you print those small photos on a piece of paper like that? What kind of printer do you use? What kind of paper do you use? So I will link to that video that shows you how I print my photos, and this is the type of printer that I have. It's older. There's newer models since then. but it is a great printer. It's just a home Canon printer. It's wonderful. And I just use glossy photo paper, nothing advanced, nothing, you know, high-end, just an affordable pack at my local Staples office supply store. Okay, so you see I've cut them both out. I don't know which one I'm going to use just yet till I get things laid out here to see how much space I have. So I'll continue to cut these out as well. And then we'll start with a real solid plan. And I always do my journaling before I commit to what I want to put it on, just in case. And I even did make a little boo-boo, but it isn't terrible. So I'm not going to redo it. I spelled a word wrong and tried to fix it. That's fine. Okay, so I have that ready, and I have my 17 on my little postage stamp down here. And you can see I have it up kind of toward the top, and that's because my plan is that I want to have it come down off the page and overlap kind of like so. So I know that I can cut it off right about there, just below. I like to have things go off the page, as I've mentioned before, just a little more interesting than floating everything right inside the page. I am using frayed burlap here today. I don't want to ink that because I've sanded it, but I will ink my whole page real quick here. And we're going to assemble the bird before we make any more decisions about where the photos are going to go and anything else, because I want to show you how easy the bird is to assemble, and also want to show you something a little different this time. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm not going to put that down yet. I've got my bird over here. This is one of my layered birds. I have it this time cut out of soft finish white cardstock, and I got all these little pieces here. Now when you look at that particular die, I want to show you, like I said at the beginning, it's two different birds that face different ways, and they're kind of positioned differently. You can interchange some of the parts if you wanted to use that wing on that bird, for example, but some of the pieces definitely are set to fit just that particular bird. So what I like to do, and I've shown this before, is I put a piece of washi tape. When I first get the die, you'll see all the pieces for one bird are kind of together, and then the other bird, they're together. Just so you know, you understand which ones go with which and you don't get them mixed up. You might want to put a little piece of tape there. You can see all the pieces here, and they kind of, you know, you could draw a line right through the middle here too to keep it straight in case you do get confused later. So anyway, I'm using this guy down here, and I'm going to use markers today. Specifically, I'm going to use Olo, my new Olo alcohol markers. Olo is a company from Copic, so very similar, but new and improved, I believe. So I do have a 64 piece set here, and I'm going to pick some colors for my bird. I have a picture off to the side on my iPad. I just sort of Googled springtime birds in South Carolina to get some sort of reference and to make a decision. And I have picked this sweet little, what kind is he? Eastern bluebird. So I'm going to color my bird like that. And just FYI, I am shortly going to make a review video of the markers, of a new trimmer that I just bought, and a couple of other craft room related items. If you care to check that video out, that'll be coming soon. And also, no, I am not a Copic marker expert or a alcohol marker expert. So I'm just going to wing it here with my Olos. Okay, and you can see this looks very strange because of that, but we are going to cover that up with his wing, the way it's positioned. And also, you see I have some pieces here that aren't colored at all. I do have some small pieces over here. These are totally optional. So you can see that you have all these little options that you can add to the wing and to the head and everything. I'm not going to do all that this time. So you do have that option to keep it really simple and just color it in. The only thing I want to do before I start to assemble, because I feel like it really needs it, is to ink around the edges with that same frayed burlap. On everything, every piece. And this little cutaway, I am going to pop back in that decorative little piece there later. So I saved that and I colored it a really dark blue. Again, right around his eye area here, I just left it white. And what else do I have to ink? I've got his little beak over here. I don't need to ink anything else. I think I'm ready to assemble. This is where your little microfine tweezers, your little fine pointed tweezers are your friend for sure, because all these little pieces, sometimes hard to pick up with your fingers, and also to put glue on it when you're holding it. So I use my tweezers. And I'm going to just line up his wing with the arch of his back right there. So it comes down a little bit over here. And then we'll pop this little dark decorative piece back in place. My fingers are officially alcohol inky, as you can see. So that's okay. It's all part of the fun. All right, pop that in there. That's cute. And I am by no means trying to make a really super realistic bird. I'm just, that's why I use those quick strokes and I don't color everything in super duper solid. It's almost like, you can fake it a little bit. And this little part of his head, I probably should have got under his wing. So I'm going to squeak that under there real quick. No problem. Again, that lines right up with this little head. So you can see he's starting to take some semblance of a bird. I got his little beak here. I colored in black. And that just pops right on top. And we'll do a little something to that in a little bit to give it a little shine. Okay, and then his eye. So there's 3 pieces to the eye. And now that I see this, I think I need to put in a little more blue color right there. A little too high with the shine spot. That's better. And his eyeball. And you can always look at the packaging if you don't know how this goes. That's what I even do, and I designed it. So it's not floating way out here. It's just about right there. So we got the white. And then the next piece is just a little tiny circle, which I colored just a slight gray color. And that'll go right in the middle. You can see there's a little color difference. And then the black one is teeny tiny. That'll be last. Cute. And sometimes people are tempted to stop there, but I feel like he just looks like he's bug-eyed if you leave it like that. So we're going to put a little shine spot in the eye as well as the beak in a minute. But let's get his little feet on. And I put the glue on the top because his body is going to go on top of the feet. And you can make these as long or short as you want by just sliding your bird down. Let's do a little shine spot. I just use my good old Signo white gel pen here by Uniball. And I'll pick this up and show you close up, but I like to test my pen on a piece of paper first, get it flowing. And then I just put a little dot there, and maybe I'll put a little shine on the top of the beak. Whoops. So he doesn't look so bug-eyed anymore. It looks kind of cute. And I think I'll stop there for now. Okay, All right, so I'm ready to put some things on down at the bottom here. And it's weird that I'm working from the bottom up, but these are the things that I know I want, and everything else will happen after the fact. So that's why I'm doing it this way this time. And I thought maybe the 17 would overlap my journaling card, but as I have placed my bird in place, I see that that's not really going to happen. So I'm going to have my journaling down here kind of lined up with the 17 postage stamp. And my bird will overlap that, so I can get this on now. Okay, so I've come back to my page and I have those elements down, and now I have cropped my photos a little tighter, added that bright blue cardstock as a photo mat. So I'm just getting an idea, and you can see I really cropped this one top and bottom because, you know, it was just a lot of wasted stuff that we didn't need in the photo really. So that's what I'm thinking. So I need to get some azaleas here, and because I see how little room I have left, I did decide to eliminate the food photo because it would have forced me to use the small one and didn't leave a lot of room for azaleas. And you know, the smaller a picture of food is, the more it just looks like a plate of garbage. So we're going to eliminate that. That's just a decision I have made. Okay, so I have die cut a bunch of these little flowers. It's the smallest and the next size up, and I don't know if I'll use all these, but I'm going to color them all. And then I went to my own stemmed flowers die and die cut 2 of these just for the leaves really. I don't think I'm going to use this, we'll see. And just kind of fill in with the leaves. As I'm making color decisions, I thought maybe I wanted to do these pretty blue azaleas, but I feel like it's too much blue over here, so I have changed it to pink. I think that's going to be a nice contrast. There's a little bit of pink over here in the photo. So I'm going to color 1 to show you how I did it. Again, I'm not an expert. I am far from it, but I am looking at a picture and I'm just sweeping this light pink color. I'm not coloring it all in, and I'm not oversaturating it. Just doing some quick sweeps, and then I will take the next pink color, and I'm gonna avoid that center line and just do some brush strokes moving outward. Color the center there. The more brush strokey, the more you sort of fake it till you make it. I know I say it all the time, but it's true. If you go coloring this in super heavy and hard, and there's hard lines everywhere, then it's a little more noticeable that you're not really comfortable with using your markers. The looser the better. And so I'm using just a deep reddish pink to do this inner part, and most azaleas have this little speckly situation on just one petal. So I'm just kind of quickly, without thinking too hard about it or being really perfect with little perfect dots, just kind of doing that. And then my final touch would be to just add a little bit of dimension by, I picked up my dauber that had some pink on it. Couldn't even tell you what pink for sure, maybe saltwater taffy distress ink. Just to kind of hit those outer edges, not so much the very ends of the tips of the petals, just those sides, just to give it some dimension, because these are going to be very flat. I mean, we could give it a lot of dimension if we shaped it, but we're not going to do that on my page. At this point, I will go ahead and color the rest of my flowers and some leaves, and we'll come back and start to assemble the page in its final form. Okay, so I have them kind of laying there how I think I want them to go. I haven't committed yet. I did color in some leaves, very different shades of greens, and I've started to cut them apart over here. I will, of course, save these for something later. And I don't know how many I'm going to use. I'm just going to start snipping some and playing around to fit them in. But I wanted to show you what I did to my bird, because as I was playing around with my leaves, I looked at the bird again. I wasn't super happy with those big, thick, dark strokes. And so I grabbed my colored pencils. Now you can use anything, really. But colored pencils are nice because you have a nice fine tip. And you can go in and it adds a little texture and little additional little strokes that are very fine and don't spread out like the marker does. So I did add that down in here, as well as like a really deep orangey red to the details in here and just above his little feet there. So I feel like that improved that quite a bit. I got to get around his face with some of the blue too. So I do like the bird better now. It was kind of bothering me. So you always have that option. I'm going to use some thick tacky glue to put these down, and I'm just going to put glue in the center for now. I can always go back and put some glue behind the petals, but I want to leave myself some room so that I have plenty of space to sneak those leaves under there as desired. And tacky glue, it's like the Kids' Choice glue. It's thick and it grabs quick. You don't have to wait or worry about, you know, it moving out of place while you're working. It just really grabs quickly and nicely. This is just good old super thick tacky glue. So I've got two more down here, and then I'll start adding those leaves. Gotta watch my holes over here so I don't cover them up. To think about this. Don't want to cover up words either. Maybe we'll come down here. It's okay to cover up the 17 a little bit. We can see it. Okay, I think that's good. Okay, nice. Okay, I have all my flowers on here. I have tacked down quite a few of the petals with some additional glue just so they don't get hung up on anything. And I would say my page is done. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to pop it into my planner. And that's week 17. So I hope you like it. I hope you try that layered bird. Don't be intimidated with coloring. Just experiment and play, or just use pattern paper like I've done in the past quite a bit. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you next week, and also watch for that review video on the Olo markers, a new paper trimmer, and a couple of other things that I've purchased recently here in the craft room. Okay, thanks again. Take care.